Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're going to do a short presentation on our strategic plan. This covers the years 2023 or 22 through 2024. So it's short. It's a short window, but even though it's a short window, we have some big plans and we're really excited about them. So thank you for joining us. And I'll share my screen so you can see our awesome PowerPoint. Who doesn't love a PowerPoint? And we'll start with Miss Alicia. Miss Alicia, can you talk to us about where this plan came from? Why are we doing this?
Well, one of the things that we were able to do during the COVID years is that we were able to sit down and do some planning and really reflect on some of the experiences we were witnessing our client community go through. What we know is that they were already in a very bad situation, and the pandemic only made that worse. Our normal for them was not a good time. The pandemic put them in some really dire straits. I have a list of clients that we've lost over the last few years, and in all of the years I've been here, which is almost 13 years now, I've never seen this level of loss. One of the things that we also witnessed was this proliferation of needs in the community that we were serving, called returning citizens. These are folks who are coming home from incarceration. During COVID, we were seeing some additional folks being released for compassionate reasons, because of health reasons, because of COVID. And we were also seeing some folks being released because of some other legislation. The problem was they were being released with no plan, no supports. And they were being released into homelessness. So that really caused us to do some thinking about how we might step into that gap. I had some moments where I was just floored by the level of commitment that our staff demonstrated during this very difficult time. We weren't able to stay home. We weren't able to kind of sit behind our closed doors and feel safe. We had to be here because we're a direct service organization, and folks stepped up and took that on at their own risks. Our community was very hard hit, very affected. Matter of fact, here in Ward 1, at several points during the COVID years, we were kind of number one on the charts in DC with respect to COVID infections. And we were here every day working with folks. So I just, really saw the demonstrated commitment that our staff have exemplified over the years. We also know we needed to be prepared to build post-pandemic. We knew we would get through this, and we knew we would need some plans in place. And so this is what we came up with. Our strategic plan, while short, because we were not sure how things might change, does, I think, give us a real roadmap for moving forward in a way that addresses all of the new needs that we've become aware of and helps our organization grow and prosper. Our vision, we envision a future in DC where homelessness is brief, rare, and non-reoccurring. So we want to see people leave these circumstances and not have to come back. That's unfortunately not what we see currently, but that's the dream. We see a city where people in crisis can get the supports they need, as we all should be able to get, because so many of us are just a moment away from being in real dire straits. But if that were to happen, you would want to know that you could step into some organization or step into some safety net that could support you. Thrive DC's vision is to be a one-stop shop. I always tell the story of when I started here. One of the clients said to me, being homeless is a full-time job. I'm all day looking for where I'm going to sleep, where I'm going to eat, where I'm going to shower, where I'm going to do laundry. And all of those activities can happen in a different place. And so I'm all day moving around, just trying to take care of my most basic needs. So we sought out to be a one-stop shop where people could take care of their basic needs and then step into services that could help them overcome the obstacles that are destabilizing them. And we wanted to do that in a judgment-free, compassionate environment, and also begin to provide some of the supports that they needed that we hadn't provided in the past, like housing, and help people who are being released from incarceration find the necessary elements to help them regain, rebuild their lives and regain their independence. So 4 areas. We want to increase our impact, of course, work more effectively, and help address the current needs and emerging needs of our community, our client community. That means we have to strengthen our capacity. We want to make sure that our internal infrastructure can support the work that we're doing, and that means investing in our staff. We also understand that there's an infrastructure that has to be built. You know, Thrive DC has just moved into the 21st century in so many ways. You know, we're working more with our technostructure. So we have moved into the cloud, you know, and we're trying to move away from using paper. But all of that really is an effort that requires some very focused attention. So we're trying to scale up in our professional world in that way and improve both our hard and soft infrastructure. And then creating the sustainability supports so that we can sustain all that we're able to build, so that this continues to be a resource for years and decades to come.
Thanks, Alicia.
Thank you.
Now to talk about how we're growing our programs, and we're going to serve clients better. John, can you talk a little bit about that?
Good afternoon, everyone. As Greg mentioned, I am new, not super new, but new to Thrive. I've been around, despite how young looking I am. I've been around for a while with homeless services in DC. I also am a Ward 1 resident, so I have seen these issues up close and personal. And I am very, very excited to be here at Thrive and be part of this vision and the future here. And as Alicia mentioned about us being a one-stop shop, I think that is really, really important. And I think that is one of the things that is great about Thrive DC, is that we are focusing not only on the one-stop shop, but also on basic needs, concrete needs being met in one, in one place, and kind of working from the concrete needs to other more extensive services, kind of from that growth, kind of building rapport, relationships, trust, treating people with dignity and respect, and kind of helping them at their very, very lowest point to grow and become the person and the people that we know that they are, and thrive and excel and live life, the best life that they're able to, which I think is what any and all of us can ask for. So I think starting with the expanding of the reentry program, working with returning citizens coming out of incarceration, looking to provide much needed services to a group of folks that have been kind of overlooked. And as Alicia mentioned, kind of people being released into homelessness, which is not how the system should be at all. And then also not having kind of the supports and systems in place. So we want to kind of be that that in between, and that connection to kind of get people back on track, whatever their needs are, whether that's housing, whether that's employment, whether that's reconnecting with family, and working with men and women. Moving forward, just a little statistic, 1 in 5 people that are experiencing homelessness have had connections with the criminal justice system. So that is a large percentage, and we want to make sure that we are part of the solution and not part of the problem. So moving forward, one of the big things that we are very excited about is moving into transitional housing. And so over the last year or so, we've been partnering with Community Family Life Services with transitional housing. And starting in April, we're in the process of getting furniture and everything set up for a new house that will be opening. It will be a transitional housing program, 8 to 12 months for returning citizens, for 6 men coming out of incarceration and trying to get back and reintegrate into society after incarceration. So we're really excited about that. A lot of good things coming in our future and in the future of our clients. So we're excited about that. Moving in terms of changing policy, advocacy, trying to work with DC government, working with kind of the policy side of things, the Interagency Council on Homelessness, working with the policies and the changes that are happening in the city so that we can kind of, in the real work and the day-to-day that we see, how does that impact and how can we have a voice and say and advocate for the clients that we see and serve each day here, and how can we make the system make more sense? Going back to the one-stop shop, it doesn't make sense for people to spend all day, every day traveling around to get a shower here and laundry here and food here. So, trying to make things easier and better and more coordinated across the city and with other service providers to make sure that people's needs are met. That's a big part of what we want to do and what we see as our future. So this is a story of hope from our reentry program. We have many, many stories, and this is just one, but kind of looking at the good side of things and sometimes knowing that the folks that we work with aren't going to go from experiencing homelessness one day to, buying their first home or, closing their first $1 million deal, but looking at the incremental changes and the positive steps that people are making in the right direction to better their lives and to move forward. So increasing mental health and substance abuse recovery capacity. So this is not something new. This is not something that we didn't know about, but it's well documented that there is a large percentage of the folks that we work with that are experiencing homelessness have severe mental illness issues as well as or substance abuse issues. So we want to be part of that solution. We want to be part of being able to help connect people to services that they need, get medication, receive substance abuse treatment, change their life for improvement, but also doing that in a very non-judgmental way, doing it in the form of harm reduction as opposed to you need to be clean tomorrow, but kind of meeting people where they're at and trying to support and empower them to grow and change to improve their lives. And so part of that, to make a larger impact and to increase that capacity, we are looking to hire 2 full-time case managers for ongoing support in crisis and to further develop our impact and what we're able to do. Also expanding emergency support services. One program that we've been working on is what we're calling the Going Home Project, helping to work with folks that somehow, some way have ended up in DC and don't have the support system that they need here. I've for years have seen people with severe mental illness end up in DC because they have something that they need to talk to the president about, or whatever that may be, and leaving an apartment, not leaving family, not telling anybody where they're going, and just kind of getting stuck here and experiencing homelessness here on the streets of Washington, D.C. So kind of how do we kind of help to get folks back to where they came from, and not, for lack of a better word, what was often referred to as Greyhound therapy, sending people with a bus ticket back to where they came from, but kind of a more comprehensive and inclusive look at kind of, who's the family, who are the supports there, does it make sense for this person to return, and kind of helping to kind of connect those dots and make sure that we can connect somebody to support somewhere else, so that they can strengthen and improve their lives. We've been talking about, as COVID has continually impacted all of our lives, is resuming our congregate meal program. And we're not exactly sure when we're going to do that, but we're going to kind of keep an eye on how everything goes with the pandemic. And hopefully we will return to a more normal sense of life here in the future, in the near future, and then hopefully be able to get back to a more normal posture of providing services. Because as Alicia said, we've all been here throughout this pandemic, and our clients have been here. We've just had to provide services in a different way than we have in the past. And while it's not horrible, because obviously services are still happening, it's not our preferred way of doing things. So we want to be able to kind of shift back to a more normal way of providing services. So that is coming in the future. Stay tuned. And then our dinner and play project, going back to the services that Thrive initially kind of started with, providing services to women. We have been working and talking with the homeless
Children's Playtime Project.
Children's Playtime Project. We've been working with them and trying to find a way to partner. And our hope is that moving forward, we will be able to provide not only dinner, but also respite for some of the families by providing play for the children, giving the women a break and an opportunity to kind of relax. And we're trying to partner with the short-term family shelter programs in and around Ward 1 and Ward 4 that are in close proximity to our program here at St. Stephen's.
So we're doing a lot. We want to get into housing, expand our reentry services, bring in more support for our clients who are coming in with substance or mental health crises, help people get into housing, whether that's with their family or on their own, get back to business as normal, and then do our services to women in a different way, maybe also serve women and their families who are in shelter. So a whole lot. We're doing a lot in the next couple of years. And part of that means that we need to invest in our staff. If we're going to do more, we have to put on our own oxygen mask before we serve others. And that means really helping our staff take care of themselves. We've gone for a couple of years without any cost of living increases. We know that our staff is undercompensated compared to other organizations in the area. And we want to make sure that our staff is taken care of so they can take care of others. We also want to strengthen and continue our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. For a long time, we've been a proudly minority majority organization. We want to continue that and give people who have non-traditional backgrounds or maybe somewhat less qualifications, but a lot of enthusiasm and passion for our work, a chance to serve others. So we want to help them grow in their career, grow professionally, get the credentials and the trainings that they might not have had access to before, and become leaders in their field. We want to elevate people who have not had maybe the chance to do so in other places. We also just want to grow our team to create more sustainable workloads. Alicia talked about just the incredible Herculean effort our staff has done over the past couple of years. And that's with, 2 or 3 job titles next to their name.
Mhm.
Kim, who does our reentry work, also is our employment manager. Gabriel, who does substance abuse counseling, also runs our morning program. Miss Tanya does the women's program, but also runs the mail, which is its own huge thing, and also does case management for clients. You know, we want to make sure that people have the ability to focus on one thing and not have to do 3 or 4. However well they might do 3 or 4. They've done an incredible job. And some of that also is just giving our staff better tools to do the work. You might not know, but we've been using Microsoft 2007 up until about 2 months ago. Our computers have been old. It's the kind of computer where you type a key and wait a minute or 2 for it to, you know, pop up. So getting new computers has been a big switch for our staff. We just got those in January. And it's been just so much easier to do work with clients, don't have to worry about the computer not working, so you can just focus on serving the client in front of you. We're also doing a client database. You know, one of the things that is hard about paper and pencil is that it's hard for our staff to collaborate sometimes. We don't always know when Tanya's working with somebody and they're interested in some of Gabe's services. So having a client database will help our staff work together better. It'll help us more easily do reporting for our funders, because, you know, government funders love reports and everyone has their own special report information that they want, and it can be hard to gather that, and it's time consuming. So this gives us more time, you know, to do more work. And then finally, we are looking at just increasing our office space. One of the things that we're so excited to grow, but one of the things that's holding us back is just we physically don't know where to put everybody that we want to bring onto our team. You know, our offices are the bottom level of St. Stephen's Church. We have some offices upstairs, but how can we add more social services staff to serve clients where they are if we don't have a place to put those staff with a computer? So looking at where we can grow as we grow. And now I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Gracie. Ms. Gracie is our board chair. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what all of these big plans mean.
Thank you, Greg. It's great to be here with you all today. Just a little bit of my background with Thrive is that I've been volunteering with Thrive for, I think, 14 years now. And I started teaching a yoga program back in 2009. And I didn't know anything about homeless services at the time. And I was very pleasantly surprised to just find what an amazing community Thrive was. I came every Wednesday morning for about 7 years, and I got to talk to clients every Wednesday morning and got to become friends with people and felt part of the community and saw the way they were treated with dignity and respect. And I know I heard Nick's name at the beginning of this, but Nick was the floor manager at the time he ran the breakfast program. And I remember he asked me, like, would you like to contribute to our Do More 24? And no one had ever asked me to give money. It didn't even occur to me before. I was like, of course I'm going to give money to this organization. And then Nick was the same person who asked me about a year later if I would consider joining the board. And I've been on the board now. This is my 6th year. I'm the board president. So I think I really believe in the power of asking and to inviting people in to this process, because it's just given me so much in my life. And so, as you can see, this plan is very needed, and it also is going to require resources to make it happen. And it's estimated at $1.5 million, which, you know, sounds like a lot, but when you start to break it down, it's really not that much for the kind of work that everyone's doing here. The good news is that the fundraising team at Thrive has done an amazing job. Yay, Greg, and has already raised 1/3 of this money due to program contracts and grants, which is great. But something I have learned about fundraising for nonprofits is I used to think it was all grants and contracts and government funding. And really successful nonprofits, I've learned they come from a very committed group of donors who invest and who want to see this and feel that this is the investment they want to make in their community. So I look at where we are at Thrive and the amazing donors we have, and I think we can do this, but it is going to require a greater buy-in, and people, I think, taking a similar journey to what I did of just being like, oh, I get to be part of this. Like, let's keep going down the rabbit hole in a good way. So, and we want to be really clear that no one is going to be asked to like take out their checkbooks, even though I don't think people use checkbooks very much anymore. It's not a fundraising pitch that we're doing here today. Really, what it is that invitation to go on the journey with us. If you're like me and you're going around Washington, D.C. right now, and you're just dismayed by the number of tents that you see up in our city, then you might be asking yourself the same thing that I am of like, what's not working here and what's going wrong? Because I know people are talking about homeless services a lot, and it's not seeming to happen in the way that I think is creating the meaningful change that we all desire. And when I look at organizations like Thrive that who believe that everyone deserves this chance, and I'm watching it in real time as they're supporting the whole person who's coming in, helping them feel good on the inside, and helping their work, start to happen again. I look at where I want to invest in our city and really in just the vision I have for our world of how we treat each other as human beings. And of course, we're doing all of this on the tail end of this pandemic, where I know a lot of us just, as Alicia mentioned, that the clients have just been ravaged by this and they need this more than ever. And I'm going to put in the plug for all of us, though, as I think all of us emotionally and like mentally have suffered as a result of this. And I know for myself, I'm very much wanting to be back in community and be of service. And I think that this opportunity that we have here is to do that, to really, I've found so much personal healing through serving others. And then we want to provide that opportunity for you all too, if you're looking for a way to lean in a little bit closer to an organization that's going to serve a lot, but also going to give you a lot of great energy back. Like this would be a good place for you to come sit at the table with us as we figure out these next steps together.